Hello and welcome to the Just Asking channel. Today I wanted to talk about a very special site, very special archaeological site that's called Por-Bazyn. We're going to start with what it looked like, and then we're going to get into the different theories of what it was. This site sits on an island in a lake in a mountainous region of southern Siberia in Russia. It's right on the border to Mongolia. It's a large walled-in rectangular area of about 35,000 square meters or 374,000 square feet. The walls are 10 meters or 33 feet, but they believe that they used to be 11 meters or 36 feet high. So they're very high walls around this. And inside this, you walk into this complex, and there's first an empty courtyard. And then if you keep walking, you walk through a building, and then there's another courtyard where this building complex sort of belongs to. Now, around the walls, there are small courtyards, like double-lined small courtyards, and in them there are dwellings that are 1 or 2 rooms at the most. Very small little dwellings. So each one of these little dwellings had its own little garden. Then along the upper walls, along the inside of the tall walls, there used to be a wooden platform. So you would have fantastic view both out across the forest and the lake, and inward you would have perfect panoptical view to see what everybody was doing. It has been dated to the year 777, and this has been determined by the wood that was used in the construction. There was a radiocarbon-14 spike in the years 774 and 775. So they know that this was built in 777. At the time, this part of Siberia belonged to the Uyghur Empire. And the emperor at the time was Qaghan, I think you'd call him. Qaghan, something like that. Uyghur language is not my forte. Anyway, this guy, he was a Manichaeist. So he had determined that Manichaeism was now the new religion of the Uyghur Empire. And not everybody was happy with that, because they used to be Buddhists. Now, Manichaeism was a very large religion at the time. It was started in the year 300 about somewhere by a Parthian, that is an Iranian, by the name of Mani. Mani was believed to be the 4th prophet after Zoroaster, Jesus, and Buddha. Another little interesting thing about this site is that it was built in the tradition of the Chinese Tang dynasty, but with Uyghur decorative tiles. But the Mongols were probably in China at the time anyway. It was apparently beautiful. Only 2 years after it was built, it was burnt down. And totally abandoned. Was never used again, never rebuilt, just that. Now the history here is also quite interesting, because in that same year, Qaghan got killed. There was a revolution. His whole family and all his friends, everybody was just killed, and they went back to being Buddhists. Now we come to the different theories about what this building was about and why. So we'll go through all the usual archaeologists' ideas about what an ancient site can possibly be. So the first one we have is that maybe it was an astrological observatory. But there's nothing there that indicates that. And on a little side note, it's not as if they had to build an astrological observatory far away from civilization in those days, because they didn't have the problem with light pollution. So I think we can skip that theory. Of course, a ritual site. But they were Manichaeists. They didn't go out in the forest and do rituals. So that's not very likely. And no. And then, of course, we have the monastery idea. The thing, though, with Manichaeist monks, they were called the thing with Manichaeist monks was that they were with the people. They were called the elect. And ordinary people were called the hearer. And the hearers had to support the elect. So there would be no point for these monks to sit out where there were no people living, no hearers to hear them. So I think we can skip the monastery theory as well. And then, of course, you have the border fortress. But why have a fortress? There were no villages there, there were no civilization, there were not even any trade routes passing by. So there was nothing to defend. So it doesn't make any sense to build a border fortress right there. There's no chance they're going to get attacked right there, because there's nothing to attack. And then, of course, we have the fantastic idea that Qaghan wanted a summer palace on this lake. Even if it was a beautiful building, I'm quite sure that it wouldn't have been a summer palace. Because of the simple fact that when you have a little lake like this in the Siberian forest, it's infested with mosquitoes. You wouldn't have been able to spend summers there and enjoy it. So what was this thing? Well, I've been thinking, since the revolution happened the same year as this, whatever it was burnt down, it's rather interesting prospect to maybe consider that it was a labor camp with political prisoners. I think what we're looking at was the first of the famous Gulag. Now, if you enjoyed this channel, please like, subscribe, or maybe buy me coffee. You can also go in on our Patreon page. A comment would be fantastic, because that's very, very important for a new and young channel like ours. Thank you very much.